This is a presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the Oklahoma Sports Network's consent is prohibited. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be used without express written consent.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Mid-Dell Sports Report. And of course, we're not at Buffalo Wild Wings this week, as due to the events at the Del City Choctaw game this past Friday, Buffalo Wild Wings wanted to take a week off from hosting, and we totally understand that. We do plan on being back there next week and every week after that during the football season, and hopefully a little bit beyond that, if not into the following semester. So we still really appreciate Buffalo Wild Wings for being a sponsor and hosting the show. Buffalo Wild Wings, remember that every Tuesday and Thursday is buy one, get one free for boneless wings. And then for traditional wings, buy one, get one at 50% off on Tuesdays, as they will bring back also their Bullet Bourbon barbecue sauce. So we want to thank Buffalo Wild Wings. And we also want to thank Keyline Productions. Creating your custom need, Keyline Productions, they offer services such as custom merchandise, custom logos, flyers, and websites. We want to thank Rakita Kearney for sponsoring the Mid-Dell Coaches Show, whether it's online or whether it's live at Buffalo Wild Wings. All right, so we're going to have interviews coming up with all three head football coaches and all three volleyball coaches. We're going to start with Del City's football coach, Robert Jones. All right, Coach Jones, that'd be one of the most awful experiences you had Friday, so we'll go and get right to it. But I know you've also have posted on social media that you've had some very positive conversations since then. What has it been like trying to deal with the aftermath of what happened Friday with your players?
To be honest, it's a roller coaster. You know, you go from contemplating what could you have done. You kind of blame yourself at times. Like, could I have done something different? Could I have spoken with Choctaw about security measures? And if I felt uncomfortable, could I have maybe pressed some issues more? Then you go from being elevated and excitement and hot and just happy because you're with your football players and your coaches, and you're back in that normalcy of life. So it's just a roller coaster of emotions that you deal with, you know. But the more I'm around the team, the more that we're preparing and getting ready for Booker T, the more that I feel like I'm getting back to normal. So I feel pretty good right now, but who knows, it could change in a couple of hours just the more you think about it, because it's an awful situation to be in that situation twice. I remember I was in that situation in January, and to go through that, and then when it happened during the game, it was like I was in a movie or something. I can't believe this is happening again. So it's something that I think that I will be dealing with for a long time.
What was it like, your conversations with the players? What were they? What was it like from their point of view, as you could tell when you talked to them after all this went down? Because it was pure chaos at first, and they had to be terrorized beyond words. And that's just, you hate to see teenagers go through that.
Honestly, to be honest with you, Joe, I couldn't even talk to the kids I got them all gathered together, and I had to let one of the coaches speak to the kids because it took about 25 minutes to get everybody together. And, you know, I first ran, and, you know, when I first ran from the sidelines, I remember once I got to Choctaw side that my adopted niece and my adopted nephew was in the stands, and my stepfather too. So I had to go back. I mean, at that point in time, I figured, you know, I had to put my life at risk, and I was okay with that because that was family. So I had to go back and find them, and I ended up finding my niece. And, you know, then I found my nephew, I found my stepdad. So once I knew they were all safe, I went back and looked for the kids. And at that time, I was looking for the football players too, because it was just chaos. It was surreal. And I ended up getting a roster, and I got all the football players gathered, and, you know, we met, and I couldn't talk to them for a while because I kept getting emotional just because it's unfair for those kids to be in that situation twice. And I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not blaming Choctaw, Dale City, or anyone, but just the fact that society has gotten to a point that kids can't even go play a football game, and a very good football game is that, and a great rivalry that's possibly done, you know, because of the senseless acts. But it was tough getting everybody together, but we got them together about 25 minutes, and we sat down, and I talked to them, and I said, hey, there's no words that I can say at this point in time to even make you understand what's going on. But I just know I love you. We're here as a brotherhood, and we're going to get through this together. And we're going to have to learn how to get this together, because there's no class or no clinic or any professional development that can train you for those type of moments. So I just let them know we're going to get through it together as a family.
So for people watching, we're recording this on a Tuesday, but it's going to be seen on a Wednesday. And you said yesterday, being Monday, you had a very good conversation with your players. What can you tell us about that?
Well, first of all, I told them thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up, you know, because I didn't feel safe showing up at first. You know, you're looking around your over your shoulder, and you're nervous, because when you hear that many gunshots and you hear it that close to you, it does something to you for a couple of days. And just to see their faces and for them to be there, I was happy that they were there, and they trusted me enough and trusted that I could still put them in a safe environment, even though that happened at a football game. So I wanted them to know that first, and I wanted to start with a positive and say, guys, congratulations on playing a great game. You know, we didn't get to finish in regulation, but, you know, we were up at a time that we needed to be up in the third quarter. And that's a very good football team. That's a team that has played in two state championships in the last 3 years. So to be up on them in the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, that's what we wanted to be in. So I told them congratulations on being in that position and all the hard work that you put in to get there. Then we just talked about how we move forward, and the best thing we could do is what we preach. You know, you could talk about it, control what you can control. You could talk about it, but until you're in the midst of an environment that you have to be that way, you don't know if you can really do it. And I told them we have to control what we can control. The next thing we can control is we got to go back to class. We got to get ready to go to weight, and then we got to practice. We cannot let that senseless act keep us stuck in cement in that terror stage. So I just let them know we got to keep moving forward. We got to start getting ready for Booker T. And after I spoke to him a little bit about that, and I told everybody we're going to do what we used to do when I was younger in church. Everybody's going to get up and shake everybody's hand in the room and hug. And when we did that act right there, you could see a lot of stress, a lot of frustration just leaving everyone. And it kind of felt like a comfortable spot for everybody. And I think that kind of led us going into the week. And I think it's been a great week so far.
And you did mention what happened in January at the end of a Dell City High School basketball game. And I'm only bringing this up because, and I want to point out, that had nothing to do with anyone from Dell City High School. It was just unfortunate that outside forces were at work. And now we kind of find out the same thing here, even though it's technically true, what happened was on the Dell City side of the field. It wasn't Dell City people necessarily. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I know as the AD, because you had to deal with that last year as the AD and now the football coach, it's just like, well, unfortunately, it still gets out there as a news story, and it still puts Dell City in a position where they're talked about in a bad way. And I mean, how do you deal with that? I mean, it's grossly unfair to Dell City High School, but it's like it just happens. So what can you do? What's your feeling about that?
I think it's several ways you could deal with it. First thing is you have to block out the noise and control what you can control. Like, you can't control what other people think about us, and we can't control what the state thinks about us. And I think even if that situation didn't happen, I think those people think about that way about us anyway. So we can't control that. What we can't control is that we're going to continue to show that we're a high character program. We got kids to do things right. We're going to send kids to college. We're going to be very competitive on the field, and we're going to continue to shine in that way. And then educate people as well. You know, I have explained the situation to a lot of different people, and they never seen it in that way. I said, you got to realize the state of football in Oklahoma City. Right now, Dale City is a predominantly Black team, and it's not a lot of good predominantly Black teams in the city right now that are competing in the 5A and 6A level. So we draw crowds from different schools throughout Oklahoma City, even in our own district, and those crowds come, and for whatever reason, tension builds and things lead to senseless acts like last Friday. So once I educate people and let them know that those aren't our people, those aren't people who are affiliated with us. Those are people who are coming to a game because of the brand that we have and the players that we have. You look at basketball, you got a McDonald's All-American this year. Last year we had Kenigel and Jaden Foreman. You got the likes of River Warren and Rodney Fields and LaDainian and Fields, and you had Braylon Adama. When you have those type of players and you have that type of program, you're going to draw crowds. And unfortunately, you're going to draw crowds that are there not to watch the game, but to do senseless acts. So you kind of got to block it out, you know, and a lot of people recognize it when these things happen. But I hear that noise about Dale City constantly without these tragic events happening. So I'm kind of used to it. I like to block it out. If anything, it motivates me to show people who we really are, and it motivates me on the field as well.
Yeah, I'll throw in one more thing for basketball. 2 state titles in 3 years. So
yes, sir.
A lot of good things going on there. And
Sure.
what was practice like then? I mean, because you got to then talk about what happened on the field as far as the play goes. And you got to talk about Booker T, which we'll talk more about in a moment here. But what have the last 2 days of practice been like?
Well, I think it's been a real appreciative kind of mood with everyone. You know, when you go through a life-altering moment like that where you think you're going to lose your life, because when you hear gun shooting like that and it's flying and you see people flying on the ground, you see people jumping fences, breaking wrists and falling on the ground, and you see people bleeding. You know, one of our, you know, so I think some people saw the young man that might have passed. You know, when you see that, it makes you appreciate the things that you have in your life even more. So I think the kids understood, and it's sad that they have to understand that at this age, but I think they understood that to not take this for granted, not to take what kind of team we have, not to take the brotherhood for granted. So I think it kind of brought appreciation of the game and appreciating to be around your team, you know, because unfortunately, when you see a young man that passed away, when you're that age and you see somebody, and a lot of our kids knew him, a lot of kids knew of him. So when that happens, it brings a realization to you that, hey, that could have been me. So it makes you appreciate things more. Just like I told him, I said at one point in time, I was walking back to the crowd and I said my prayers to God, because at that time I didn't know what was going to happen because it was still gunshots ringing, but I knew how to go get my family. So I know it was life altering to me. It made me not put as much stress and pressure on games because life is a lot bigger than that. And sometimes those moments bring that out of you as a reality point.
All right, so let's talk about a few of the football plays then.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, Rodney Fields was having an all-time game. And it seemed like your guys were got in a good rhythm where you're able to consistently move the ball too. So I was really impressed with what your offensive line was doing. But what can you say about your rushing attack in that game?
Well, you said it last, and you said it good too with the offensive line. You know, I kind of kept it under the wraps. You know, a lot of people thought we weren't going to be good offensively because our O-line. We graduated a couple guys, but what little did they realize, we brought all the starters back. They're all bigger. You know, each one of them has put on anywhere from 10 to 20 pounds of muscle. And we condition, you know, we do a mile test, and when you get big boys and offensive linemen to run a mile, that's going to show you that we're endurance. And I think, you know, we're athletic as well. And then you mix that in with Rodney Fields, who I believe is the best back in the state. I mean, if he didn't show you guys that, I don't know what will. And all due respect to Xavier, I think it's a 1A, 1B thing going on here because they're both great backs. But, you know, I spoke with Coach Gundy, Mike Gundy on Saturday, and we were talking about Rodney. He's just a little mix of Justice Hill and with a little bit of power as well. He's really explosive. And I knew this about him, and I was telling everybody about him. And I said, hey, he's the most explosive athlete I've seen from 1 to 5, 1 yards to 5 yards in my coaching career. So, and the only thing we had a quarter left, I can only imagine what he could have done. So I'm excited to see him go. I'm excited to see him keep improving. I think the competition that we have at that running back position motivates him and pushes him, because when you have Aaron Carter behind you, you got Rick Holmes and Shaden Green and Brandon Adama, when you have those kind of running backs behind you, it's going to let you know that, hey, I need to take advantage of my chances because I might not be getting them in a couple of series. So with that rushing attack, and you know, River did a good job. I think you know, that was his, you know, he played in, you know, at Bishop McGuinness and played in a lot of 5A games. I think the speed of the game, he was kind of get comfortable with it. You know, he had a couple of drops towards the end of the second half, but I think River played well as well. And I think his passing attack and his ability to pass and his threat to pass really opened up a lot of things for Rodney. But the biggest thing was LaDainian Fields. A lot of people didn't recognize this, but they were bracketing LaDainian Fields. They were pressing him with a linebacker and then having a DB over the top. Well, when you take that linebacker out the box, we're going to hit you with Rodney. So it's kind of like pick your poison. If you don't bring somebody out there to help LaDainian, he's pretty shifty enough to TCU commit to get open. And then if you do bring somebody out there, Rodney's powerful enough and shifty enough to make some moves.
Defensively, it was good to see Braylon Adama go from being on the show last week to getting the first touchdown of the season on defense. And then you had a bit of a sticky situation when they recovered a kickoff for a fumble recovery after they scored it on a pick six.
Yeah.
And they got inside the 10 and you held them to a field goal. I thought was kind of the beginning of you guys taking a big lead there at one point. What can you say about that sequence and then your how your defense held on there?
Well, you know, to start the game off, you know, we take pride in our defense around here, and Coach Corbin won the toss, and he wanted the ball. And, you know, we call our defense Code Red, and we took offense to that. You know, we took offense that, hey, he wants the ball. Football is a competitive sport. It's a challenge, and we took on that challenge, and we felt like, you know, we came out there excited. We kind of knew their offense. We had played against them last year, so we've been scheming and game planning for them since July. So we kind of knew who they were. We kind of knew what to expect. And Braylon is probably watched that same play on film 100 times, and he read it perfectly. And what a great way to start a game. What a great way to start the season as a defense to give you that confidence that, hey, teams need to fear us. It don't need to be the other way around. We got a lot of speed. Probably the fastest defense I've had here since 2017. And the difference between this defense and 2017 is they've been in the weight room for 4 years. So you have that weight room with the speed, the knowledge. We got a couple guys that have started for 3 years and 2 years. When you start getting guys who have played for 2 to 3 years, you start to see that experience and you start to see that physicality that you need to be a championship type team. So they played well all night. To come up with that field goal, that was huge at that time because the momentum has swung. And, you know, it's kind of crazy that both scores, you think of these explosive offenses, and both scored the pick sixes, first scores. So defense played great all night. The scary thing is there's so much more room for improvement. We could have played so much better in a lot of different areas. And I think we're going to make those corrections. I think we're going to continue to show how physical we are, and our depth up front is just unbelievable. We finally got to a point at Del City that I feel like we can be too deep on both sides of the ball and be able to rotate players instead of going both ways all the time. And I think that's really going to play dividends as we move towards the district play.
All right. And you mentioned room for improvement. Let's talk about a couple possible areas of that. One is point after touchdowns. Do you feel like right now you might, because it was a bit of a struggle, you might go for 2 more in the near future before you get that settled? Mm-hmm. I'll start with that and then ask another one.
Well, we all knew this was coming when Stanley left. I got spoiled for 3 years, and I enjoyed it, and I won a lot of football games utilizing him. Braylon Adama's brother was actually pretty good on the kicks. It was a deep snapper. My starting deep snapper, Tay Johnson, he starts defensive end for us as well. He dislocated his finger, so he hadn't been able to snap. And the young kid has been doing great in practice that we replaced him with. I mean, he looked great all week, and I think the pressure of the game got to him, so he could skid a couple on the ground, and he actually had us get a safety as well on the punt. So we're hoping to get Tay. Then we put Tay in there for a couple of times. We're hoping to get him healthy. But I think the magnitude of the game was so high for that young kid in his first game. I think he made a lot of mistakes. But I think this week we'll kind of see him calm down a little bit and be able to get those snaps. And then Jaden Adama has been looking better each day. And, you know, he's young. He's a sophomore. So I'm going to continue to put him in those moments to where he can get those PATs, just because we're going to need those later on in the season. Hopefully, in my mindset, we should be in positions where we shouldn't have to worry about extra points as much if we utilize our talent right. So hopefully, we're not in those situations, but if we are, we're just going to have to trust them as a sophomore, both of them, the deep snapper and the kicker, to get the job done, you know. And if not, then we'll kind of make that decision to go for 2 if need be. You know, I went for it last week. I'm kind of old fashioned. I really don't like going for 2, but I will if I have to.
Well, at least you got Rodney Fields for that.
Yeah.
And then
confident.
First game of the season, of course, you're playing week 0, so you only get 1 scrimmage. There were some penalties in that game. That's what kind of made it go long. But any pattern there, would you just chalk that up to the first game situation?
I kind of chop it up to the first game. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully we can get that fixed. You know, we watch film. We do have consequences for penalties. So there were some things that they had to do, extra running and up downs and things like that, just to kind of keep them understanding that those things are game changing. And I think that's the first game. You know, kids are tired. Usually when kids are tired, they play sloppy. You know, you can do all the running you want. Obviously, it's going to get you acclimated, get you ready for the heat. But it's only one way you can get used to the game, and that's playing. I feel like this week we'll be working on cleaning those things up, and I feel like our kids are getting better in their technique, and they're going to be more conditioned. And having that 0 week will really have us prepared as far as physicality and our condition.
All right, so let's talk Booker T. It's actually been quite a rivalry. So just to recap a bit of it, I think in 2018 when you guys first moved to 6A and 6A2, you met him in the playoffs at Booker T and fell short. And then the next year you saw him in the playoffs at Del City and won.
Yep.
And then you lost a tough game there in 2020. It was a COVID year, it was the first game of the season, kind of crazy. It was a low-scoring game. And then 2 years ago, they went to Del City. They won at your place, big third quarter. And that kind of ignited you guys you won the last 9 games of the regular season.
Yep.
And then last year you got a chance to finally win at Booker T pretty solidly. You know, they're a good team year in, year out. So you get them one more time. It's been a good back and forth rivalry. So what can you say about the Hornets?
Man, it's almost like looking in the mirror. You know, that's why those games were always so exciting, because you were going to always have a couple Power 5 guys. You're going to have a good front on both sides of the ball, offensive lineman and defensive lineman. Then you got tradition. You know, both schools have been known for having great programs throughout the years and having great athletes that went on and played collegiate and even some professionally. And I just like it. I like the game. You know, you got 2 historical, predominantly Black schools at this point in time, even though it's still diverse at both schools, but the teams are predominantly Black. I think it's good. I think it's good to get out there and compete and get out there and go against each other. Coach Brown is a great man. I'm friends with him. He does a great job. You know, I think they're a lot better this year. I think they're going to look more like the Booker T that we've seen in the past. They're big up front. They have a pretty good quarterback. They got wideouts and they got a running back that's pretty good. And, you know, they're always going to have guys on defense who can fly around the ball and have secondary guys who can cover. So I think it's a great game for the city. I think it's a great game for the state. And I think it's going to be good for everybody to get back out there and get after it. And I'm kind of excited it being moved up to Thursday so we can get back out there pretty quick and get out there and play some football and move forward in this process.
And what can you say about the move to Thursday and moving it up an hour early as well?
Well, I the Midwest City and Carl Albert game is Friday. So our admin, Dr. Cobb and Andy Carter thought it would be wise to go ahead and move ours to Thursday so that we can have all hands on deck. So we're not divided with having people at Midwest City and Carl Albert. And also, the start time, be able to get a little bit done earlier, get a chance for them to get back home in a decent time to get to school on Friday. So we kind of wanted to look out for Booker T, and then you kind of want to have all hands on deck and put all the safety precautions that you can after a situation like that, and make sure everybody feels safe, secure to come watch a football game and enjoy their kids and their sons and, family be able to watch the game.
All right. Makes a lot of sense, Coach. There you go. So you guys watching the Del City Booker T game is tomorrow. Kickoff at 6. Coverage starts on the Oklahoma Sports Network at 5:30. All right, Coach. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Okay.
When it comes to your home, you need someone that you can trust to keep it safe and protected for you and your family.
Vesta Foundation Solutions is your local, family-owned company that has helped many homeowners fix and protect their homes.
Our engineered solutions can take care of all of your foundation repair, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and dirt crawl space repair needs.
We take pride in getting the job done right, and you'll always be protected with up to a 75-year warranty.
Contact us today for a free estimate.
Augusta Contracting is a general contracting company that specializes in commercial and industrial construction projects. When you choose us as a partner for a project, we assure quality workmanship, exceptional performance, and unparalleled client satisfaction. At Augusta Contracting, safety is top priority. Our main focus is to send our team home to their families safe, happy, and healthy. Augusta Contracting, where your idea turns to reality and your project comes to life.
Welcome back to the Mid-Dell Coaches Show. Aspen Healy is now in her third year as the Del City head volleyball coach. And earlier this week, she spoke with Del City OSN announcer John Kilty. Here it goes.
John Kilty with you here on the Eagle Sports Network for the Oklahoma Sports Network. I'm here with our head girls volleyball coach. Her name is Coach Aspen Healy, and she is a great one. And I can't wait for you all to meet her. I got a whole bunch of questions for her, but she's also a teacher in our school, does a great job in the classroom, out on the court. I mean, we are so lucky and blessed to have you here at Del City High School. So, Coach Healy, here we go. Question number one. How did you get interested in volleyball?
My dad, whenever we moved here from Elk City, he made me try out. That was my dad. My dad's the one that got me into it.
And your dad comes to a lot of your games too, huh?
Yep,
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
With your mom as well.
Uh-huh.
And so how did you end up at Del City, Coach?
Taylor Upchurch.
Okay, yeah.
He was
Used to be the principal here.
Yeah. He was my old coach, my old basketball coach in high school. And then he posted about his science position. So I decided to apply and ask if they had volleyball coaching role open.
Right.
Yeah.
And wow, it all worked out, didn't
it
it?
all worked out, yeah.
Oh, wow. We're so happy that you're here. How do you like coaching at Del City?
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody here is really, I've had a lot of help from the other coaches and, guidance. The kids work hard, show up, ready to go.
Yeah, you know what? It's a lot of fun to watch you coach, watch you teach those kids out on the court, and your style and your demeanor. It's pretty inspiring because I sit there right on where the clock and the scorer's table is. So I got kind of a bird's eye view, which is a lot of fun and a great honor. So as we continue, what are conditioning drills like in volleyball?
Conditioning drills. Sometimes we'll do a serve and chase where they serve the ball over and have to go to the other side and get their ball and serve it back. We do a lot of blocking drills that can be tiring. Normally it's just fast-paced, quicker balls, getting brought into the rolls. Just keep them moving the whole time.
Okay, very good. And what's your second favorite sport? Since we know volleyball is your favorite.
Basketball.
Ah, basketball. Did you play basketball in high school?
Yep. Yeah.
Where did you go to high school, Coach?
Putnam Senior.
Okay. And you play volleyball there too?
Mm-hmm.
Just out of curiosity, did you do any all-district stuff or anything like that?
No.
Oh, I thought I thought at one time I heard you were all-district. Well, you're all-district in our book, I tell you. And Coach, what has been so enjoyable about coaching this team? And who are some of your standout players?
This team, this is my fourth year, so the seniors are my girls that I've had from their freshman year. So it's been pretty fun watching them grow from the start of the start of my career to the end of theirs in high school. Some of the top girls, Annette has been a big role. She's a senior.
Yeah.
Annette Cox, and then Shelby Thornton's a junior.
Oh boy.
And she's been a pretty big role this year too.
She's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. I picked her up her summer pride her freshman year.
When she was out there for basketball, and you
Yeah.
said, I think I'd like her to play a little volleyball, yeah. Plus, she's a leader on your team, I can tell. shout out for your assistant coaches?
Yep. Audrey Sanford and Bria Ballard. Yeah.
They do a great job for you. Okay. So, Coach, this will be aired during the coaches show on Wednesday. So after you're coaching your game or whatever you got going, you had something else that you had to do, then maybe you can tune it up and you can watch it on the Oklahoma Sports Network. But Coach, on behalf of all of us here, on behalf of the Oklahoma Sports Network, but mainly on behalf of all the kids whose lives you impact every day, thank you. We sure do love having you in our school. Good job, kid.
And we want to thank Captain Kilty and Coach Healy for their time. All right, coming up next, Midwest City football right here on the Mid-Dell Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Red Plains Plumbing has been offering reliable commercial and residential services to the OKC metro area for over a decade. From new construction and remodeling to residential repair, they can handle jobs of all sizes. When you need a trusted name in plumbing, it's Red Plains Plumbing. Family owned and operated. Phone 405-769-1922. That's 405-769-1922.
All right, welcome back to the Mid-Dell Coaches Show. Happy to be joined by Bomber head coach Drill Hall. And Coach, obviously what happened at Choctaw Del City had rocked the community at Midwest City High School. And, of course, there's also going to be some concerns about the security, maybe some from fans and stuff like that about your game against Carl Albert. But what can you say about some of about those things?
Oh, about well, I think the safety measures that's been put in by Mid-Dell schools are going to be okay with what's going on. I mean, first of all, it's a closed game. So if you're not from Midwest City or Carl Albert High School, you're not getting in unless unless there's an adult with you. You have to have a student ID. We're not going to allow crossing back and forth. You know, you go to visitors will go to the visitor concession stand. Home will go to the home concession stand. I'm going over to see my friend on the other side. There will be plenty of police presence, which has been, you know. We'll probably have more than normal. So, I feel like it's going to be a safe environment. My grandkids will be coming to watch the game.
Very good. Now, another question about the location would be you had a scrimmage scheduled last Thursday for Lawton at home, and then you had to move it to Lawton because something was not right with Rosefield with the water. Is that correct? Has that been resolved?
Yeah, we went to scrimmage in Lawton instead at the house. So we went to Lawton High School. They got brand new turf, so it was good for both of us. We got it. It's just like any other scrimmage. I didn't have to worry about the gatekeepers and all that. And like I said, they had new turf, and we got all we needed. Going into the scrimmage, any coach, we want to improve and no injuries. Well, guess what? We improved and we had no injuries, so it was a win-win for us.
All right, good. But Rosefield will be ready to go though for this Friday, correct?
Yeah, we had a middle school game there last night.
Okay, good deal. And you say your team improved in the scrimmage. Can you elaborate? What were some things you saw that was better?
Well, on the offensive side of the ball, I thought we caught the ball better. And, you know, our line got a little bit more improved. You know, we only replaced one starter on offensive line, but, you know, one person can make a big difference on what's going on. So, you know, we cleaned some of that up. We still got work to do. And, you know, we were down to, you know, where we had 3 returning starters coming back, or 3 returning players as running back. You know, only one, Woody, played in that game. The other 2 did not. And then so we got some key snaps for Jaheim Muhammad. So that's going to help us a ton down the long run, because he's a bigger back than anybody else, than the other guys. So that we got a chance to get him plenty of snaps. So, you know, we improved on that side. Defensively, you know, we ran to the ball, tackled better, and some guys got some more snaps.
All right. And how about how did Colston look, especially throwing the football?
Well, we had a couple snafus there, but, you know, I think I'd rather have the interceptions in a scrimmage than in a game. You know, one was a tip ball and one was just a bad read. He threw it right to the kid, but that's going to happen. But like I said, it don't hurt me so much in a scrimmage, but it'll hurt me Friday night.
Okay, so Friday night's game, Carl Albert. I mean, you've heard about, you know, their D1 players are going to get a lot of attention. And so their quarterback, you're very familiar with that, Xavier Robinson, because he had his coming out party against you guys last year. And then they're talented receivers on offense, but then obviously they're solid on defense all around. What are some important things you guys got to do well in that game?
Well, for us to beat Carl Albert, we're going to have to not give him anything. You know, and by giving them anything, not jumping off sides where it's a 3rd and 7, jump off sides. Now we make it 3rd and 2. Well, it's kind of hard to stop them for 1 or 2 yards. You know what I mean? On a play like that. So, you know, we don't want to give them any plays by us jumping off sides or an unnecessary penalty. And then we want to make them earn everything they get, not give the bomb up, make them march it down the field and see if they can execute it long enough to get it into the end zone. So our keys is, you know, no big plays, no turnovers, no dumb penalties, and play Bomber football.
All right, you mentioned no injuries, and you know it's going to be hot outside. How do you feel about the depth, your depth heading into that game, and you feel like you can rotate players in and keep them from getting tired?
I believe so. You know, it's part of one of the things we worked on coming into the season is building depth, because you're going to need it throughout a tough season that we're going to have this year. So we've done a really good job of rotating some guys, rotating defensive linemen, rotating linebackers, rotating secondary guys. So defensively, we're doing a very good job rotation. Offensively, you know, we're plugging guys in where we need to get them the snaps they need to get so we can improve.
All right, Coach, we look forward to it. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me on, Jordan.
All right, coming up, we'll talk Midwest City volleyball after this.
Augusta Contracting is a general contracting company that specializes in commercial and industrial construction projects. When you choose us as a partner for a project, we assure quality workmanship, exceptional performance, and unparalleled client satisfaction. At Augusta Contracting, safety is top priority. Our main focus is to send our team home to their families safe, happy, and healthy. Augusta Contracting, where your idea turns to reality and your project comes to life.
When it comes to your home, you need someone that you can trust to keep it safe and protected for you and your family.
Vesta Foundation Solutions is your local, family-owned company that has helped many homeowners fix and protect their homes.
Our engineered solutions can take care of all of your foundation repair, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and dirt crawl space repair needs.
We take pride in getting the job done right, and you'll always be protected with up to a 75-year warranty.
Contact us today for a free estimate.
Great to be joined now by Midwest City volleyball coach Maddie Dix, and she is also a first-year coach, head coach at Midwest City High School. Coach Dix, first question: what made you fall in love with the sport of volleyball?
So I have been playing it ever since I was a little girl. My mom coached for 20 years. So I kind of just grew up in the gym, really around every sport, and just fell in love with the game of volleyball. I enjoy just playing with the girls and just playing with a team.
And how'd you wind up at Midwest City High School?
So I originally interviewed for the JV coaching position. And so whenever the previous head coach transferred to Carl Albert, they had offered me the head coaching position here at Midwest City.
All right. And I mean, you guys have had a good run. You've been ranked before this season, and you won a game yesterday against John Marshall. So what's been going well for your team?
So I think honestly, just the friendships and the way that they just are with each other on and off the court has definitely played a huge role in our success so far. And I definitely think just having that positivity and just working together as a team definitely has made the difference between previous years and now.
And a couple of volleyball questions. What, there's a lot of different forms of conditioning to help you with your particular sport. What are some important elements of conditioning you emphasize for volleyball?
Sure. So some important factors in the sport of volleyball are definitely obviously working on your vertical, working on quick movements back and forth from side to side, and obviously that endurance portion of it as well. You have to be able to play at least 5 games if it does go that far. So definitely being in shape, working on your verticals, and just quick movements back and forth are really important conditioning rules for volleyball.
All right. And so who do you got behind you here? Three Bombers here. What do we need to know about them?
I have our team clown here, Trinity. Trinity Allen, she's a junior. She's our middle blocker. And then behind me right here, I have our other team clown, Jakayla Jackson, another junior as well. And then I have clumsy Kaya Jackson, also a junior with me here. So have the class clowns and the clumsy ones here.
Oh, good. So they're all juniors. You get them another year.
I do. Unfortunately, no, I'm just kidding. Fortunately, no, they're fantastic girls.
Okay, so you gave me the position for one of them. Do they have to still rotate? How do you? Is there a way you keep them at a position for a longer period of time?
No. So Trinity and Jakayla are my middles, so they're always on the opposite sides of the court. So Trinity will go in the first 3 rotations, and then once she comes to back row, I have my libero go in, and then Jakayla then comes to the front row.
And that's pronounced libero?
Yes, libero. They wear the different colored jerseys, so they play back row for the middles.
Okay. All right. And let's see, Trinity, what have you enjoyed most about this season?
Just the fact that we've had a new coach come into our school and our, what is this called? Program. There we go. Just like having a new coach, a new mindset, a new feel of everything. I just feel like we've done a lot better than our past few seasons.
All right. And one more time, who's number 7?
Kaya Jackson.
All right. Kaya, what do you enjoy most about playing volleyball?
I just enjoy like how we can all just get along together. It's just a fun sport, and we can always joke around and have fun at the same time, and it's just enjoyable to play.
All right, one more time, the name of the girl on your left.
Jakayla Jackson.
All right, Jakayla. What do you think about? I'll ask you first. What do you think about this? Your game tomorrow against Choctaw?
I think it's going to be a good game. We're both competitive, and we're both really strong. We have really strong hitters, strong blockers. It's going to be a good game.
All right. Well, we would encourage people to go out and watch. Coach, what do you think about Choctaw? I know you're having a promotional going on, right? Wear orange.
Yes, yeah. So due to the incident that had happened Friday night at the Choctaw football game, very tragic incident. And I'm actually thankful to be here for the girls and just for Midwest City High School. I know that we had a tournament the day after the incident. So, just being there for them, being that positive person, being a shoulder they can cry on, and just someone that they can come talk to. But yes, definitely wear orange tomorrow night for our game. So the color orange is for gun violence awareness. So we do encourage everyone to wear orange.
All right. Wow. And was that tough to play that game Saturday?
It was kind of tough. It took an effect on all of us. So even if we didn't know him, even if we weren't close to him, it still affected us some type of way.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, and one more thing, Coach. Choctaw, what's going to make them a challenge? Are they a district opponent?
No. So they are 6A. So we're 5A this year, and they're 6A. But from what I've seen and from what I've heard, they're just a really solid team all the way around, from their serving to their serve receive to their blocking, to even their setters. Their setters really aggressive from what I've seen, and they're a really scrappy team. So they're picking up everything. They're a really good hustle team. So I definitely think that it's going to make for a great match, because my team has those same strengths as well. So it's definitely going to be a good matchup for sure.
All right. We look forward to it. Coach, ladies, thank you very much for your time. We'll have to do this again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Red Plains Plumbing has been offering reliable commercial and residential services to the OKC metro area for over a decade. From new construction and remodeling to residential repair, they can handle jobs of all sizes. When you need a trusted name in plumbing, it's Red Plains Plumbing. Family owned and operated. Phone 405-769-1922. That's 405-769-1922.
All right, and in 3, 2, 1. All right, welcome back to the Mid-Dell Sports Report. Happy to be joined by Carl Albert coach Mike Dunn. All right, Coach, I'm going to congratulate you. I know it doesn't sound that meaningful in the long run, but congratulations on your first season opening win as the head coach of Carl Albert.
There you have it. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Now about the game against Coweta, I think you guys won 38-10, and what was interesting is that game could have been closer. I mean, Coweta had it where they were challenging you a couple different times, and so what I was impressed with was how you kept them at arm's length. With for one, that late drive in the first half resulting in a field goal, and then the goal line stands. So I mean, it was still a bit of a battle, even though the score didn't indicate that. But you guys never let it get too close.
Yeah, we knew that it was going to be a dogfight like that. Coweta, it's a tough group. It's a tough team. They're well coached. It's a team. It doesn't matter. They lost a lot from that team last year, but they had 4 or 5 starters back on both sides of the ball, and it was the right starters. I mean, Number 5, Lolo Bell, the running back kid, played great on both sides of the ball. You know, they had 2 offensive linemen and 2 defensive linemen back that were all really, really good players from the year before. The quarterback that moved in from Gore there, I think he was a really good player. And then had a kid that moved in from Tulsa East Central that wore number 88, and he did a good job. And so they, you know, we didn't have a whole lot of film on them, wasn't really sure what to expect from them. And I was really proud of our kids for, you know, and it was just a weird week with all the weather that we dealt with and having to go out for an hour and then come back in for 30 minutes and then go back out. We couldn't practice with pads, and with all the obstacles and everything we had to overcome, I was really proud of our kids for going out and getting a really strong win on Friday night.
So I asked you about all these different players you got, you know, playing a lot of snaps for you last week. I didn't ask you about your kicker. And so he had I thought it was you feel the momentum when the team scores a touchdown but you can come back without much time to go in the first half and kick a field goal. So and I'm not great at pronouncing his last name. It's Ethan Spiewak. Is that right? Spiewak. What can you say about him this year? I mean, what's his range and everything? And just he seems as reliable as ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, kind of picking up from where he left off from last year. You know, last year he broke our season record and kicked 11 field goals, but he was actually 11 for 11. He never missed. And so, you know, watching him start out the year with a 1-for-1 night and a big kick there with 11 seconds left on the clock in the first half, and just a big momentum shift right there. And you know, Spiewak he's a kid that has gotten just consistently better every single year. He gets stronger every year. He's starting to put on some weight. You know, when Spiewak came to us as a freshman, he was a twig. He was not, you know, he was not a lot of meat on his bones. And so we've watched him get stronger in the weight room. We've watched him get stronger in his lower half. And he's gone to camps all summer. He's rated a 4.5-star kicker by Coles, and that's a big deal. It's hard to do. And I think the kid from Midwest City is also a 4.5-star rated guy with the Coles kicking group. And so that's a big time honor for both those guys. But Speedy's a kid that he's a constant worker. You know, there's never a time we have to really tell him what to do. He works through practice. He's there every day. He's there every day in the summer. And he's a big time leg. And so we're lucky we have him. He's a big time weapon for sure.
And what range do you feel comfortable using him, depending on the wind, of course?
Right. Yeah. Well, like no conditions. We don't have to worry about the wind being a factor at all. I mean, I've seen him go out there and off of his kicking stand, I've seen him hit 50-yarders in practice. You know, we kicked last spring in front of the UCO coaches. He kicked 5, and I think he was 4 or 5 from 50 yards. So he's got a big time leg. You know, in game, I think maybe his farthest kick was probably a 43-yarder right now. But I know before the game the other day, Coach Farley always will come tell me, hey, we feel good from here. I know the other night he said, hey, we feel really good from 45 yards. And so, and he's always counting the wind, and he's always factoring that in. And so, yeah, I mean, if it's within 45 yards, we feel really good about it.
And then another key point was the goal line stance. I think it was in the third quarter. Stuffed him on 4th and goal and at around the 1-yard line. I know as a coach that has to feel, I mean, all sorts of different highlights feel great. Long touchdowns, interceptions, fumble recoveries, all that stuff. But what makes a goal line stance feel special?
Well, because it's all, once you get down there inside the 5-yard line, it's all about heart and effort. We always tell our kids, make them snap it one more time. Take it that serious, you know, whether it's a team that breaks a long run and somebody runs it down and makes a tackle on the 1-yard line, make them snap it again. And so on 3rd down, when we do our job and we collapse the middle there and we push them back a little bit and we get them to that 4th and goal situation from about the 1-foot line, we gave ourselves another chance to get a stop. And so our defensive line did a great job of crashing and really getting a good push there. And they tried to go quarterback sneak, and we got a push on the center, and you know, our guys jumped on and piled on, and we held them out, and it's always special just because, you know, it's a big time momentum, game changing type of play. And so when it happens, you know, as a coach, that's a big time play in any game.
All right, back. Well, now, okay. Well, I started with special teams actually, and then now defense, and then defense, now offense. You did tell me that you were going to play both quarterbacks, and now that they got game experience, I mean, how do you evaluate them, and what are you looking at as far as determining, who plays how many snaps?
We really don't. We really haven't talked about it very much. It's more of a, for us, it's a depth thing early on, and if you look at the game, we rotated guys all over the place. I mean, we rotated receivers, we rotated DBs, we rotated offensive line, defensive line guys. I mean, when you play early games like that, you want to get as much experience out there and get as much guys some experience as possible. And so, the plan was for pretty much our whole team. And so I think we did for a week 0 game. That was something else I was really proud of. I felt like, everybody that went out and played in the game, everybody played strong, and we're creating the depth that we've talked about, and we want to have some strong backups. And so, I was really proud of that from all of our guys.
And then for your receivers, I know Trey Washington, or he goes by Trey on the broadcasts. He caught a couple deep passes, I noticed, and then Tristan Haynes caught more intermediate routes. Is that normally how you plan on using them, or will it still vary?
No, no, we don't really go into it like that at all. I mean, it's for us, it's those guys will do it all for us. I mean, there's going to be times that Tristan caught a 65-yard post in one of the games, or one of the scrimmages that we did a couple of weeks ago, and it just worked out like that the other night. But no, we don't look at it like that. Those guys are both mainly outside receivers, and those guys are going to do intermediate stuff. Those guys are going to do long stuff. Those guys are going to do shallow stuff. And so we don't really put any limits or say, this guy's more of a deep threat than the other one. Those guys are going to do it all for us.
And were there any other players who you thought played better than maybe you thought they would, or who really impressed you out there on the field?
Yeah, you know what? One of the big time pleasant surprises that we had was Easton Perkins. We had 4 returning starters on our offensive line coming back from last year, and then Easton Perkins got the start as the 5th one in the game last Friday, and he ended up having a big time night. He graded out at 96. He had 10 pancakes. He was our offensive lineman of the week. So that was a big time pleasant surprise for us. We had a feeling that he was going to go out and do that. We had a feeling that he's put himself in a spot, with his offseason to have a game like that, and just watching him go out and do it, just really proud of him. Defensively, Caden Davis had just an unbelievable well of a game. He had 13 tackles, and I think he started out with a sack, coming off of last year having 21 and getting a sack in the first game is a big deal for him and for us. And but his motor just runs like crazy. But, Marcus James had a really good game defensively. Cooper Brackage had a good game defensively. Easton Harless had a good game. And so, honestly, it was just all around. I thought I was really pleased with where we were at for a week 0 game in all 3 phases.
All right. So Midwest City's up next. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of newness about them. They haven't played a game yet. They have a new quarterback. They'll have some new players, but some old players that are back, and it just depends on how improved they are from last year. So, what are your thoughts about the Bombers?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, the Bombers are going to be very well coached. I think Coach K does an unbelievable job with the defense, and they're going to be tough. They're going to fly around. They're going to play fast. They're going to play physical. Everything you want in a defense. Coach K and Coach Hall, they're going to bring that. And offensively, they've done a lot of different. It's a challenge just trying to figure out, what are they going to be in, what are they going to do, and they've got a big group, big offensive line. Jacob Brunson does a great job there at a tackle for him, and I think Kenneth Colston's going to he's going to open a lot of eyes this year. He's a really good player, and they've got a couple backs that are really good, and just all around, it's just, I think it looks like a more physical team. It looks like a more downhill team. And it's kind of a staple of a Coach Hall coach team is it's a tough group of kids, and it's a group that flies around on the football field on both sides of the ball, you know. And so it's going to be a dogfight just like it was a week ago. It's going to be a dogfight this Friday, and we're looking forward to it.
All right. Well, Coach, one more thing. I mean, with this game being at Rose Field, and you know what Middale's going through with what happened at Choctaw last week, and I mean, any comments about that, or about, you know, fans wanting to come to the game but maybe not feeling, you know, not feeling very secure about that?
Right. Well, I would probably argue and say that it's probably the most safe, secure place you can probably be in all of Midwest City on this Friday night, just because there's gonna be such a presence of administration, security, the open air detectors that everybody that's going to have to walk through to get in on either side, and Mid-Del has put in so many things, so many procedures that are going to help make it one of the safest places out there. You know, at our game on Friday night, I don't know how many people came up to me afterwards and said, "Hey, it took a little bit longer to get in, but this is safe, this is secure, this feels really good that we're doing this." And so I think Mid-Del is kind of being the leaders right now. You know, we're one of the first that have really implemented all these procedures, and I think everything that we put into place, I feel very, very safe as a visiting team, as a visiting coach. I feel very, very safe about going over to Midwest City, because I know, you know, in Mid-Del, we're not going to have people crossing over to both sides. There's not going to be a bunch of people standing around and a bunch of loitering. We don't have re-entry on both sides. You buy a ticket, you go in the game, you stay in the game. You're not allowed to go out to your card. You're not allowed to go hang out in the parking lot. You're not allowed to hang out in the concourse and hang around. You know, you're going to be up in the stands watching the game. And we have administration that believes in that. We have security that's behind that. And we have a police presence and Midwest City Police. They understand how to keep our events safe and secure. And so having abundant police presence and administrative presence and security presence and all the other procedures that we put in place with Mid-Del, I think Friday night at Rose Field in Midwest City is going to be one of the safer places out there. So I would encourage everybody to come out and unify and be together, and don't let senseless acts and stuff that you know, that's really, it's hard to control, but don't let that stuff scare people off, especially when we're putting into all these procedures that are going to help keep people safe. That's what I would ask. All
right, Coach. Good stuff there. Thank you very much, and we appreciate it. And look forward to having you back at Buffalo Wild Wings next week. Okay, stick around. Coming up, we'll talk Carl Albert volleyball after this.
Where sports is our middle name. We are the Oklahoma Sports Network.
When it comes to your home, you need someone that you can trust to keep it safe and protected for you and your family.
Vesta Foundation Solutions is your local, family-owned company that has helped many homeowners fix and protect their homes.
Our engineered solutions can take care of all of your foundation repair, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and dirt crawl space repair needs.
We take pride in getting the job done right, and you'll always be protected with up to a 75-year warranty.
Contact us today for a free estimate.
Augusta Contracting is a general contracting company that specializes in commercial and industrial construction projects. When you choose us as a partner for a project, we assure quality workmanship, exceptional performance, and unparalleled client satisfaction. At Augusta Contracting, safety is top priority. Our main focus is to send our team home to their families safe, happy, and healthy. Augusta Contracting, where your idea turns to reality and your project comes to life.
McCray. And Coach, great to have you on. I'm going to start by asking you, what led to you become interested in volleyball?
I think when I was in high school and younger, I started and I just found a passion and love for the game, and it just continued. I then went to OU and did like intramurals and things like that, sand volleyball. And then I just knew after that, I kind of wanted to keep pursuing it, but I knew like not for myself. And so then coaching was for me became the passion that when you get older, that volleyball is just not. So.
All right. And how'd you wind up at Carl Albert?
Really, it was truly luck of the draw. Hayden had called and said, hey, my position's coming open. You know, I'm transferring. I trust you a lot, and I think the program would be beneficial with you in it. I reached out to Coach Dunn. We had a meeting, and I really just prayed on it because I was not looking to go anywhere. I loved Midwest City. But it was just when God opened the door, you move, and it has been such a blessing. So.
Right. And you're a lay coach. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you have anything else that keeps you busy during the day? I know you got kids.
Yep. Got 3 of them.
Yeah.
So just keeping up with them. And then this year I've tried to really focus on watching like film and strategic stuff during the day, because I knew coming into this program, it was going to take a lot more than just 2 to 4:30 or 2 to 5. And so when I could send my kids to Mother's Day out, or one's in kindergarten and nap time, I'm really trying to focus on that so I can really get these girls to where they need to be in Win State this year.
All right. And you guys won your last 2 games against a couple of prominent Carl Albert rivals, El Reno and Del City. How did that Del City game was yesterday? How'd that game go for you?
We started off really strong. The energy, we went into it very almost reserved with everything going on. We didn't want to overdo anything, or, you know, with your cheering or excitement, you know, so we kind of went in there not knowing what to expect with the environment. But I think my girls really pulled it off. And I think the first game was like 25-9, I think. The next game, they really struggled for some reason. They lost their focus. So it was like 25-23. And so we had a come to Jesus meeting, and we were like, you can't take pressure off when you're ahead. You have to continue to hit the gas pedal. And they ended up with 25-5. So it ended up being good, but we just got to get out those kinks to where we play to our game and not to our opponent's games.
All right. And some questions about volleyball, because I'm not the most knowledgeable person on it. But when I looked at your schedule, I noticed there were some games, I guess called matches, you won 2-0, and then some with the 2 wins, and then some you won with 3 wins. So what determines whether it's a best of 3 or best of 5 match?
So if we win 3 of those games, then you're done.
Yep.
If you win 2 and you lose the 3rd, you have to go to that 4th one. So best 3 out of 5. And then if it's just 2, then that's usually a tournament or a scrimmage, and you just play best 2 out of 3 with those.
Okay, a tournament. Okay, because you did have some tournament games. And then another thing that I've noticed when I watch volleyball is one player wears a different shirt than the rest of the players.
Yeah, the libero.
What's the purpose of that?
So she can only pass. So she can go in for any player in that back row. But she can only, like, she has to sub in and out. She can serve for one player, and she can pass for anybody.
Okay. And then when it comes to preparing your team for play, especially in the off season, I mean, the conditioning takes a lot of different forms. What's an important aspect of conditioning for volleyball players, especially since they don't really run, but they do move quickly?
So we are really focusing on agility. So we do jump box, we do ladders, we do hurdles. We're doing constant footwork. I think I know I've been trying to do a lot of agility formats, whereas instead of just like, hey, get on the line and let's do some running, or hey, let's just do shuffle, things like that, where they're constantly having to move quick with the hurdles or with the ladders, and then they're getting their height with our box jumps. So that's what we've been really stressing. And we'll do like Mondays and Wednesdays, where the first 45 minutes it's agility, and we're doing everything from videos we found on like Instagram or TikTok that these college volleyball players are implementing, that we're really trying to strive to do with these girls too.
As that coach, are you also active with the middle school feeder program at CAMS?
So, we haven't really conjoined so much this year, but I've seen like in Moore, it's worked so well where they start in the 6th grade and they the coaches are kind of all working together. Like, what can we do for you? What can we do? And I would love to start implementing that next season, and as in the summer, just so we can all move forward knowing like where they're going to be by the time they hit their freshman year.
All right. And we're going to stream your game against Loudon MacArthur tomorrow. We're excited about that. What are some players on your team that are good standout players that deserve a lot of mention?
So definitely Eden Schroeder. She's an outside hitter. Yesterday alone, she got 25 kills. So she's an outside number 17, and she's phenomenal. I can't say enough great things about her. She's a really good leader on our team, as well as smart and just an all-around athlete. Kaylee Stewart is our setter, number 18. And she is one of the best setters I've really seen in a long time. She is constantly in the gym. If she's not here before everybody else, she's staying after. She wants to know the game. She'll message me and be like, hey, I'm watching film and I noticed this, and she'll send me a screenshot. And she's like, what can I do better in this moment? What am I doing wrong? So she's always wanting to learn more of the game and also herself. And she really loves to set other people up for success. So I'd say those. And then our last one, Caitlin Maybe, we just brought her up. She's a freshman, and she actually is our libero, and she's just tearing it up. She's all over. She's really trying to be that leadership role and taking, but also learning a lot from the other players who have been here. So I'd say those three, but man, our starting 6, every one of them I can say not enough great things about. They're really busting their tail this year for me.
All right, last question about Loudon MacArthur. I mean, that's they're traditionally a good team.
Yeah.
So, and they're often highly ranked. And so talk about the significance of the game, and is this a district game?
Yes. So for us, we actually just had a team meeting this right before. My girls are in yoga right now. So we have a yoga instructor come in on Wednesdays. But so we just had a team meeting, and we marked down like our goals for this week for that team specifically. We watched film, like who are their blockers? What are they doing that we need to be successful to beat this team? Because they're not like a lot of our other components who we can go down the street and just watch. So we're really working, because we saw them at Coweta, and then they were just at our Carl Albert tournament. And so we know they're a strong team, but our team's equally as great. We just have to outsmart them playing wise.
All right, we'll look forward to seeing if you can. That game will be on tomorrow. We'll start stream a little before 6. That's usually when the varsity begins, right?
Yes.
All right, we're good. All right, Coach, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching this presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.